awesome. Yeah, but yeah, going into it, the story of Jacob. I might sound like Jacob, but I fuck like Esau. I might sound like Jacob. So here's the story of Jacob, and I think for you to actually pay attention to where it is at, Jacob was the second born of a twin. That was Esau and Jacob. This is a story of the twins, right? Sons of Isaac. Yeah, right. So I'm just gonna jump into it real quick. Right. Alright. So where we at now? This is the section I call Jacob the firstborn. Jacob the firstborn, and it's a bit ironic because it's, what do you mean? If you read the story about Jacob, Jacob was actually the second out of the womb of her mother Rebecca, and Esau was the first out. So, what do you mean? What do you mean? What you saying? What you saying? You lying? What you talking about, nigga? Here it is. Let's just read. Now I'm gonna read. Now we're gonna wine press, right? We're gonna wine press, and this is what I'm saying. This is how you get the grape. You crush the grape. You get the juice. You get the principle, and you take the principle. You make the music. You make the content. You know what I'm saying? You know what I mean? So you're wine pressing. This is an example of the wine press. Alright, okay. Okay, so from verse 22 in Genesis chapter 25, and Isaac, this is verse 21, right? And I'm sorry about that. Right. And Isaac kept pleading with Jehovah regarding his wife because she was barren. So Jehovah responded to his plea, and his wife Rebekah became pregnant. And the sons within her began to struggle with each other. So that she said, "If this is the way it is, why should I go on living?" So she inquired of Jehovah, and Jehovah said to her, "2 nations are in your womb, and 2 peoples will be separated from within you, and 1 nation will be stronger than the other nation, and the older will serve the younger." Right? So this is crazy, right? This is crazy. So the went and inquired of Jehovah. You can imagine how that looked like or what that was. How did I go inquire of Jehovah? It's probably a method of like getting his attention and getting him to, you know what I mean? So it's kind of strange how people trip when African people need to go and inquire of their ancestors. You know what I'm saying? Okay, yo niggas, y'all went ahead of us. What the fuck's going on? Because now we tripping or popping. You know what I mean? So it's a trip. I don't understand why people don't get the principle. And remember, why they inquire of Jehovah, these are, Jehovah is unborn at this stage, you know what I mean? And if we're the people that are inquiring of ancestors, it means that we were those that were unborn, and we're here now. So we're not inquiring of unborn people that are yet to be born. We're inquiring of people that have been born already. And this is the symbol or the sign, a principal sign of who we are as people right now, particularly the Zulu people. We don't inquire of our ancestors. We don't inquire of the unborn. We inquire of those who have been born, that have went ahead of us. So in the biblical context, these were the sons of men inquiring of the unborn. That makes sense. Of the angels or the true sons. You know what I mean? Very complex what I'm saying, and I think But it's very simple if you understand it. Rebecca had to inquire of Jehovah. That's what she did. And the reason why it's so crazy, what I'm saying is, it's like nobody would think like this because they haven't found the heart of God. Remember, I just mentioned the heart of God is an unborn spirit. He's trying to become a son of man. That's who Jehovah is. So when I'm saying that Abraham and all these characters in the Bible were inquiring of the unborn, now it kind of makes sense when you understand the will of God. But if I were to say it off the bat, it's like, what the fuck is this nigga saying? What you saying, dog? No, man, shit, fuck out of here, you know? Yeah. So that's the foundation. So these are twins. It's already prophesied that this guy will serve the younger one. This is the old one, but this is the younger one. Right? This one came out first. Principle number one. I think we're gonna make it. Principle number one: Esau, first born. Right. Now we go on a little bit further. You say, yeah, so here in verse 27, not too far. Chapter 5, 25, verse 27. Genesis, chapter 25, verse 27. I'm going down. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but I'm not skipping. I'm not being I'm not trying to take the stuff out of context. I'm like, you get the meat. If you want to read it, read chapter 25, 26. Chapter 27, you get the foundations of who Jacob was. You get all the way to the end of actually Genesis. You kind of get then why Jacob became the foundation of Israel and who the heads of Israel became. You know, the 12 tribes, who their sons, Judah, Simon, Levi, all those niggas, you know what I mean? Until how they ended up in Egypt. So if you want to read that, read from verse 25. Jacob and his exploits and his sons, and how Joseph was, sold to Egypt, and how Israel found refuge in Egypt, and that being the prelude to what becomes the Exodus in the book of Exodus, of the Israelites from Egypt. So how did they get from Abraham to Egypt, and how did they go from Egypt, where God is now making the unborn God is making a covenant with them to say, yo niggas, make a way for me. I'm your king. Make a way for me. So this is where I'm going into it, right? I'm going into this straight up. Right. As the boys, 25, verse 27. Genesis 25, verse 27. As the boys got bigger, Esau became a skilled hunter, a man of the field, but Jacob was a blameless man, dwelling in tents. And Isaac loved Esau because it meant game in his mouth, whereas Rebekah loved Jacob. Right? On one occasion, Jacob was boiling some stew when Esau returned from the field exhausted. So Esau said to Jacob, "Quick, please, give me some of that red stew that you have there, for I am exhausted." That is why his name is Edom. To this, Jacob said. So now, very important context to this. Before this, we know that the firstborn is the one that gets the inheritance. Right? And in this case, the inheritance is the father's blessing. Right? Right. So another principal thing is that all of these characters from Abraham, Isaac, Jacob. These guys are born in somewhat of a supernatural way. It required an intervention from the unborn to make these guys pop up and happen. So yeah, very interesting principle there. I could highlight it there as well as a principle, but let's move on. So this is very important. This is very important. To this Jacob said, "First sell me your right as firstborn." And Esau continued, "Here I am about to die. What use is a birthright to me?" And Jacob added, "Swear to me first." So he swore to him and sold his right as firstborn to Jacob. So Esau, right, gives up his right or his inheritance to satisfy his flesh. That's the principle. So he gives it up, like, yeah, that's no use to me. He says, yeah, "Here I am about to die. What use is my birthright to me?" And Jacob added, "Swear to me first." So instead of him saying, "Nah, nigga, you're my brother and you are obligated to give me that soup. I'm gonna get that soup, nigga. Out of here, nigga. I'm gonna get that. I can impose myself on. I'm gonna get that soup. I ain't gonna sell my birthright." Like, he could have fought for it. He could have fought his brother for it. But anyways, then Jacob gave Esau bread and lentil stew, and he ate and he drank and he got up and went away. Thus Esau despised his birthright. Didn't mind too much about it. Alright. 2 now. This is where I'm like, I might sound like Jacob, but I fuck like Esau. So Jacob and his mom. Now Jacob was a skilled man of the tent. He cooked, making a meal. He could do that shit. He was about that. Esau was a guy that was a hunter and, could hunt game and all of that. A very important thing. So here's something that's really quite interesting about the story. Now I'm going to read chapter 27. I'm going to pull out the points as we go along. Alright, I'm going to read it out. Now when Isaac was old and his eyes were too weak to see, he called Esau, his older son, and said to him, "My son," he replied, "here I am." And he went on to say, "I have now grown old, and I do not know the day of my death. So at this time take, please, your weapons, your quiver, and your bow, and go out to the field and hunt some wild game for me. Then make the kind of tasty dish that I am fond of, and bring it to me. Then I will eat it, so that I may bless you before I die." Right, so this is the blessing, the inheritance. It's the blessing of the firstborn is a blessing. Right. However, Rebekah was listening while Isaac spoke to Esau, and Esau went out into the field to hunt some game and bring it in. Now this is where a lot of people criticize the story and say, like, geez man, what type of this is like Bukleli, bro, like in Zulu, Bukleli, like this is deceit at its highest level. Right? Why would God endorse this type of deceit? Why would the unborn God just endorse and say, "Yo, I picked you to be my ancestor"? Shit. You know what I mean? Why would God, you know what I mean? Why would he do that? Right? So I'll go on, right? Alright. And Esau, so Rebekah said, Jacob said to her son, "I just heard your father speaking to your brother Esau, saying, 'Bring me some game and make me a tasty dish. Then let me eat so that I may bless you before Jehovah, before my death.'" So the blessing is not just the blessing, the inheritance is not just, it's a blessing endorsed Jehovah, the unborn Son of Man, the unborn King. You know what I mean? So this is quite interesting. So she basically tells Esau, Jacob, to say, look man, while your father's getting game from the field, get me, and this is what he says. And now my son, listen carefully and do what I'm instructing you. Go please to the herd and get me 2 of the best young goats from there, so that I may prepare from them a tasty dish for your father just the way he likes it. Then take it to your father to eat, in order that he may bless you before his death. So this is all conspiracies to get. The mother says, no, fuck Esau. We know the background already. The firstborn already gives up his inheritance to satisfy his flesh, to fill his stomach. You know what I mean? He despised his birthright. He didn't care much for it. He's like, no, what's use my birthright if I'm about to die of hunger? Right, so before we criticize and overly criticize the fact that the scheme is about to be endorsed, you know what I mean? We need to factor that in. Right. And it's important that we get this idea so that we understand who the fuck's motherfucking Jacob? You know what I mean? Motherfucking Jacob. Right? Yeah. Fucking with that. So go please to the herd and get me 2 of the best young goats from there, so that I may prepare from them a tasty dish for your father just the way he likes it. Then take it to your father to eat, in order that he may bless you before his death. In verse 11, this is chapter 27, verse 11. Jacob said to his mother, Rebekah, but Esau my brother is a hairy man, and his skin is smooth, and my skin is smooth. What if my father feels me? So that's the first problem. First problem. For Jacob to be that, he had to be hairy. Esau, smooth. So there were physical attributes that made them different, right? What if my father feels me? Then I will certainly appear to be mocking him, and I will bring upon myself a curse rather than a blessing. At this, his mother said to him, upon me be the curse meant for you, my son. Just do as I say, and get them for me. So he went and got them and brought them to his mother, and his mother made a tasty dish, just the way his father liked it. After Rebekah took her older son's Esau's finest garments, which she had in the house, and put them on the younger son Jacob. She also put the skins of the young goats on his hands. So the skin of the goat and the garment of the firstborn of Esau. This is what was used in the trick. The skin of the goat, garment of Esau. Right. She also put skins of the young goats on his hand and the hairless part of his neck. She handed the tasty dish and the bread that she had made to her son Jacob. So he went in to his father and said, my father. To which he said, here I am. Who are you, my son? Jacob said to his father, I am Esau, your firstborn. Right? So now, Jacob is talking about being the firstborn. Right? I've done just as you told me. Sit up, please, and eat some of my game, so that you may bless me. So here's a very interesting part. Again, the goat meat tastes like game. So it's as tasty. So it's not exactly game meat, but it's as tasty. That's another thing. There's 3 attributes to pull off this trick. to pull up this trick. Trick number 1, skin. Trick number 2, the outfit. Trick number 3, the meat. The dish must taste like gay meat. Right. At that Isaac said to his son, How were you so quick in finding it, my son? He replied, again, another lie, so 2 lies. Right, 2 lies. Let's just say 2 lies. Yeah, 3. 2 lies already that we picked up. Yeah. I am Esau. That's a lie. And number 2, Jehovah help me do it. Number you know what I mean? That's another lie. In the name of Jehovah, I'm like, yo, Jehovah help me do it. No, but it was literally what mom's skill with making a dish and her idea to put this hair on my body and all of this. So already we see this is very, very, very interesting scheme and plot to get the inheritance of the firstborn. Right. Right. So right, so where am I? I'm at 27, chapter 27, verse 21. Then Isaac said to Jacob, Come near, please, so that I may feel you, my son, to know whether you are really my son Esau or not. So Jacob came near to his father Isaac, and he felt him. And after which he said, The voice is the voice of Jacob, but his hands are the hands of Esau. The only thing that glitched in this whole scheme was the voice. He didn't sound like Esau. Didn't sound like Esau. You get what I'm saying? You fuck with what I'm saying, right? I fuck with what I'm saying. Shit. You didn't sound like the nigga. Shit. The fuck. You know what I mean? A whole plot, skin, garments, meat, the meal is dope. You say the right thing. I'm Esau. Jehovah help me. But, you don't sound like the nigga though. You know? I might sound like Jacob, but the fuck like Esau. I might sound like Jacob. You know what I mean? So why I sing that dirge now, when we get to the wine press, is that Esau was a hunter of game. So you know what I mean? So I can make goat meat taste like game. So when I say fuck, it's not like sex, man. It's like I can impose myself like Esau. I can get you game meat, bro. When I'm not even a hunter, I can make my goats taste like game meat, nigga. Shit. I fuck like Esau, dude. I impose myself like Esau. So I'm gonna go into the motherfucking Zulu language. What I'm saying is pretty much F-U-C-K capability. I fuck like Esau. I apply myself like Esau, you know? Alright, let's see what I'm saying. I might sound like Jacob, but I fuck like Esau. You know what I mean? So he felt me. I feel like Jacob. I feel like Esau, but I sound like Jacob. I sound like Jacob, but I feel like Esau. You know, maybe that's what I should say. I sound like Jacob, but I feel like Esau. But I sound like Jacob. I sound like Jacob, but I feel like Esau. Oh man, that's how it actually should be. That's the uncut version. That's the clean cut, you know. I sound like Jacob, but I feel like Esau. So let's put this down here. Sound like Jacob, right? But feel like Esau. The first one. Sound like the second one? but feel like the first one. Right, that is the principle. I think this is the anchor principle of why I created the content. Number one, this is the content. Sound like Jacob, but I feel like Esau. You see, that's the wine I'm creating, right? So you see how this whole moment is encapsulated by this principle that comes out in this dirge that I just created. So when I sing the dirge, you remember the principle, you remember the story. If you're not intelligent enough, you'll get the principle from the context that the song is being applied. Straight up, man. This is biblical, nigga. This is biblical. Right? Right. Right. So, I'm going to have to do this in 2 sections, dude. Because this is getting way too long. Let me just